Can an artist come back from cancellation? This year's Met Gala is putting that exact question to the test. The multi-million-dollar, star-studded annual fundraiser known as the Met Gala recently announced its upcoming theme, Horizons. It's focused solely on the life and work of designer John Galliano. He was famously booted from his position at Dior at the height of his career, and he's now making a major comeback on the first Monday in May. While associated with the Met Museum, the Met Gala is actually a fundraiser for the Costume Institute. The Institute started as an independent museum of costume art and was created by theater designer Irene Lewinson. Publicist Eleanor Lambert, who also founded New York Fashion Week and the CFDA, actually created the fundraiser in December 1948. At the time, it was a midnight supper and tickets were $50 each, which is approximately $900 in today's money. Their first event was a big success and they raised around $350,000 on their first night. Since its absorption by the Met in 1959, the Costume Institute relies on the gala as its primary fundraiser. In 2023 alone, it generated an estimated $22 million. Anna Wintour, famously the editor-in-chief of Vogue, has been the gala's sole permanent chair since 1995 and is often credited for transforming it into the cultural phenomenon it's known as today. This event is no stranger to controversy. In 2023, the Karl Lagerfeld exhibition drew real backlash over his own history of questionable remarks. This upcoming Met Gala focuses on a retrospective on John Galliano's work. It's called Horizons and it's curated by curator Andrew Bolton. Bolton was born in 1966 in Blackburn, Lancashire, England, and he studied social anthropology and non-Western art at the University of East Anglia. After working in London's Victoria and Albert Museum in the East Asian department and later as their curator of contemporary Chinese art, he moved to New York and started at the Met in 2002. Since 2016, he's been curator in charge at the Costume Institute. He curated the exhibition on China called China Through the Looking Glass in 2015. It was one of the Met Gala's most popular themes. It drew lots of criticism, but also spawned some important memes of Rihanna's yellow dress. The exhibition on John Galliano will have 3 parts: Bearings, Horizons, and Atlas of Transformation. Galliano is the 3rd living designer to have a solo exhibition after Yves Saint Laurent and Rei Kawakubo of Comme des Garçons. The exhibition covers his entire career to date, from his 1984 graduation from Central St. Martin's through his tenure at Givenchy, Dior, and current role at Maison Margiela. Horizons focuses on the voyeuristic nature of Galliano's work. He was obsessed with storytelling and how it can transport us to a new time and place. Horizons is meant to evoke the coming together of the past and future of the Met as well. Bearings will cover the chronological account of Galliano's career. Horizons will then talk about the convergence of Galliano's references, including history, art, geography, and theater. And the Atlas will be a hard documentation of Galliano's end-to-end process. It includes his research to sketching to creating an actual couture piece. Who is John Galliano, you ask? I know, we've spent a lot of time covering his exhibition. He was born John Charles Galliano in 1960 in Gibraltar, which is a British territory off the coast of Spain. He came from a Spanish family, and his mom was actually a flamenco dancer, which was a big influence on his later works. At the age of 6, he moved to South London, which is also home to other famous artists like David Bowie and Amy Winehouse. He studied at Central St. Martin's, which also produced famous designers like Alexander McQueen and Stella McCartney. While he was a student, he worked as a dresser for London's National Theatre, which is said to be formative of his theatrical, narrative-driven style. When he graduated in 1984, his graduate collection, inspired by the French Revolution, was bought in its entirety by a London boutique, which was highly rare at the time. In 1995, he was named head of Givenchy and was the first Brit to lead a French house since the 19th century. Then, in 1996, he moved to Dior. This is considered the most significant era of his career and highly influential for the history of the House of Dior. He revived Dior's signature new look, which was all about cinched waists, full skirts, full glamour, and full femininity. The new look was part of Dior's DNA, and it was a fundamental piece of the house's 1947 debut collection. He brought his immersive storytelling to the house with iconic pieces like the Dior saddlebag, which still has staying power today. What is the controversy, you ask? Well, Galliano has always been controversial. His immersive worlds were built for each collection, and he pulled inspiration from various historical touchpoints like the French Revolution and Russian aristocracy, and also global costume traditions. This would sometimes land him in hot water for cultural appropriation. There's a widely discussed 2004 Rastafarian-inspired collection that Gisele Bündchen was involved in. Galliano was convicted in 2011 for making anti-Semitic remarks, which ended his tenure at Dior. He had been there at that point for 15 years. During this time, he was also ousted from his namesake house, the fashion brand John Galliano. Anna Wintour has recently defended him, saying a career is not defined by a single remark. And there are reports that Wintour, Bolton, and Galliano met with Jewish community leaders, including Rabbi Joshua Davidson and Jonathan Greenblatt, the director of the Anti-Defamation League, as part of the planning for this exhibition. These leaders wanted there to be more discourse about anti-Semitism within the exhibit rather than having it be a pure celebration. People are having a lot to say about this online, as they always do. However, Galliano's exhibition will continue on. Since 2011, Galliano's work has actually made frequent appearances at Met Galas. In 2014, he took up his current role as head of Maison Margiela. You can see various celebrities wearing different iterations of his work. Zendaya wore this recreation of his 1996 Dior gown at the 2024 Gala. Kim Kardashian also wore an quote-unquote internet-breaking corset to the 2024 Met Gala, which she collaborated on with Galliano. She also wore a baby blue John Galliano for Dior Spring 2000 dress to her 45th birthday celebration. Zoe Saldana also wore Maison Margiela by Galliano Spring 2015 Haute Couture to the 2025 NAACP Image Awards. Amal Clooney wore Margiela by Galliano as her first ever Met Gala look to the 2015 Met Gala, and Katy Perry wore Margiela by Galliano to the 2017 Met Gala. It seems like everyone is ready to forgive and forget, which begs the question, what makes someone worthy of a redemption arc? Let me know what you think in the comments below.